Hello out there, YouTubers, and welcome to PE Slick Podcast. I'm your host, Matt here. Each week I'm going to bring you something different in terms of leadership, ministering, entertainment, book authoring, and much more. But before we begin each time, I'm going to be airing a classic throwback commercial from back in the 80s or 90s or 2000s for my personal liking. Stay tuned.
It looked like a routine Tuesday until Captain Color Time spotted another black and white existence.
Let's see, the white's in this pile, the black's in this pile. Who are you?
I'm Captain Color Time, here to add a little color time to your life.
Wow, my very own washer and dryer.
It's just that easy when you rent to own from Color Time.
Yeah, but who's going to help me separate all these colors?
There's no cash deposit, no long-term obligation when you rent from America's largest rent-to-own system.
And I'm back, YouTubers. Joining me this week is Mr. George Scribner. George Scribner was the director on Oliver and Company, one of the early directors on The Lion King, and has done many other Disney films and is an excellent animator, director, painter, and I'm glad to have him on my podcast. How you doing, George?
I'm good. Well, thanks for having me on, Matt.
I appreciate it. Where are you from?
I was born in Central America in Panama and moved to Los Angeles in the late 70s to get into animation. So, yeah, I'm from Panama.
Okay. What were your hobbies growing up?
I drew, played guitar, painted a little bit, stuff like that. I always liked drawing and stuff, so it was something I thought, I'll pursue this and see if this goes anywhere as a career. So, yeah, mostly drawing and art.
Okay. So you knew pretty much that animation was something you wanted to get into?
No, not really. I drew and I loved, the idea of drawing and stuff, but I majored in film and thought I would follow a career in film in Panama. I went back after college and decided to try animation as a career. I was looking for some idea to take me back to the States, and I thought, you know what, this would be kind of an interesting career choice. I can draw, I can act, I'd done some theater. I thought I'd give it a try. So I moved to, like I said, LA in the late 70s and started working at different animation houses until I finally got hired at Disney in 1983 as an animator on the Black Cauldron. But I had no idea I wanted to do animation until my mid-20s, and then came up to the States and started mentoring under different people, and liked it as a career and just sort of pursued it. So it's worked out real well.
What is your favorite thing about Christmas time?
Wow, it's a great time. It's family. I've got grandkids. I think probably enjoying the season with your family. I would say that's probably the biggest appeal to me.
Okay. And what kind of music do you like?
I like all kinds. I have a pretty eclectic taste from classical to jazz to, like rock that's probably really dated now, but I like a lot of classical music. I live in Los Angeles, so I go to the LA Phil quite a bit. I really enjoy it.
Okay. Yeah, you had mentioned rock, so I think the first thing that came to mind was kind of the Huey Lewis, Hall and Oates kind of era.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah. Okay, so you also worked on a couple of movies that was from Hanna-Barbera, like the Smurfs movie, Chipmunk Christmas, a film that was short called American Pop and Heavy Metal. What was that like?
I freelanced quite a bit while I was at Hanna-Barbera and Chuck Jones. Briefly, my first job was Hanna-Barbera. Then I worked at Chuck Jones as an assistant. And then I went back to Hanna-Barbera and kept turning in portfolios at Disney until I finally got hired there. But I would search out different jobs and different films or television shorts. You know, at the time there really wasn't a lot of work. It's real different now. Quite a bit of it. But at the time, if people weren't working in television, the features there weren't that many of them. Heavy metal was first the early 80s or something, and that was a cool gig to get onto, but man, I was lucky. There just wasn't a lot of work, so I picked up whatever kind of work I could as an animator.
Right. So you came to Disney in 1983. Now, that was around the time when Walt's son-in-law, Ron Miller, was running the studio. What was that like when you first came at that time when he was running the studio?
You know, I don't really have strong opinions about it because I didn't know him. I never met him. I was an animator on the Black Cauldron, and about a year later, he left when Roy and Jeffrey and Michael and Katzenberg came in. So I never really got to know why. I heard good things about him. I heard he was really a decent human being, really a nice guy. But I didn't know him. It was kind of a crazy, tumultuous time because it's almost as soon as I came in on Cauldron, the change of administration was starting up. There was a lot of, it was not chaotic, but pretty exciting.
Right.
I didn't know what to expect with the new management.
Right, and because both Frank Wells, Michael Eisner, Jeffrey Katzenberg came in, and then Roy Disney, who was on the board, came in to run animation, and both Michael and Jeffrey, who was at Paramount, knew live action, but they didn't know animation, so it was a new tool for you guys.
Right, it was.
Then so the Black Cauldron, you worked on that, but it didn't do so well, and then after Mouse Detective came Oliver. What was it like directing Oliver and Company? That was one of my favorite movies, by the way.
Yeah, thanks very much. It was really kind of exciting. Jeffrey and Michael and Roy wanted to make a different type of movie, something a little more current, contemporary, and I was at the right place at the right time to be able to get chosen as a director, and it was pretty exciting meeting people like Billy Joel and Bette Midler and Barry Manilow. At the time, they were huge. And, man, here I was, a little Disney animator directing these people. It was pretty exciting times.
And then after that, you did The Prince and the Pauper. You directed that one. What was that like, directing that short for Mickey?
That was really an interesting project because we didn't know if we could have the character, Mickey Mouse, which is a short character, perform with the kind of depth that we needed in that short. There's a scene where Mickey is at the bedside when the king, it's based on the Mark Twain story, the king dies. And it was really a challenge, but it's one of my favorite experiences working at the studio. I'm really proud of it. This is a beautiful little film.
Yeah, I liked it too. I didn't see it until like a few years later, but I thought it was cool. I always liked when you guys made a film rather short or long, and I put Mickey in it.
Yeah, it was a tough little featurette to pull off. There was so much story. It's a pretty dense narrative, and that was tricky trying to get that all in about 20 minutes, 18 minutes. So it was really a challenge to pull off, but we had a really good staff, great art direction, great background painter. It was, for me, it's one of my proudest, I guess, achievements, things that I've done for Disney. I'm still really, really proud of this piece.
Right. Now, then you were the early director on The Lion King, and at the time it was called King of the Jungle.
Correct.
And you was paired with Roger Allers and many others. What was that feel like at first when you first was given that project?
It was something I really wanted to do. I thought, wow, if we could combine Disney character animation with strength of our characters and storyline with the cultures of, the Maasai or using African talent, African musicians from South Africa. There was a number of them, and I thought, wow, it'd be really interesting if we could pair the two. So it was really exciting giving that a try. I was really happy with, what I contributed to it.
Yeah. So what was that feeling like, because, I've seen Waking, Sleeping Beauty and the making of the movies, and I like how there's a lot of archival footage, and a lot of y'all pretty much said that was an exciting big year, those 10 years. For you, what was that time like for that period of time from 84 to 94?
I'm trying to remember. Well, I was directing during that time. Oliver came out in 1988.
Right.
Then Prince and the Pauper was early 90s. I went on to Lion King in 91. I left the movie. I wanted to take the movie in a more realistic direction. The studio wanted to go a little more, just looser, just broader. So I was replaced by Roger Minkoff. Rob Minkoff took my spot. And then I went on to work and did a number of short subjects for Walt Disney Imagineering, the group that does the parks, where I eventually ended up as a full-time director a couple of years later, in 1997. So, I did a lot of different kinds of things, and was really happy to finally end up at Imagineering.
Right, right. You also was a part of a creation called Disneyland, the first 50 magical years that came out in 2005. So what was that fun experience like?
That was a lot of fun. We got to work with Steve Martin, who hosted it. He had worked at the park when he was in his teens, and it was fun. I directed the character of Donald, who plays against him, and Jerry Reese directed Steve Martin. So it was a lot of fun meeting him and working with him. And I actually gave Steve Martin, I would read against Steve during the shoot because I knew Donald's part. So that was great fun. It was an honor to be part of something that celebrated, 50 years of the park and to work with such great people.
Right.
Great.
What does, from you being an artist and director and everything, what does art mean to you exactly? Like, how would you define that?
I guess it's a means of expressing the things that I really love. I'm from Panama, so I really love painting now. I've been painting for about 20 years.
Right.
And art, if that's fine art, I enjoy being able to express the experiences I had growing up in Panama. And I still do paintings for the Panama Canal. Doing as a filmmaker and as someone who works in film, I love being able to express human emotions, characters, bring characters to life. I would say that's probably the biggest appeal to me.
Okay. You've also been doing some teaching. What's that like?
I really enjoy it. It's pretty satisfying, and I like teaching because I sort of feel like not only do I learn from the students, but it's a way of giving back to younger people. When I moved here to LA, there were people who helped me, and I sort of feel like, well, it's my turn to do what they did for me, and teaching is a way of giving back. So it's very satisfying on a lot of different levels.
Okay. What advice would you give somebody trying to come into this field?
If you want to become an animator or work in this type of motion picture work, I'm talking about Disney, which is really character-based and heavy on story. We really spend a lot of time getting our stories right. It helps to have a couple things. It helps to be able to act, to be able to understand human emotions and be able to tap the emotions within you that you can then bring to life in another character on screen, either on a computer or paper. Now it's on a computer. I would say having a curiosity and having the ability to draw and to express your feelings is really important.
So what is George Scribner's plan going into 2020, which is a whole new decade now?
uh, I'm trying to eat less. No, I'm kidding. I have no idea. I want to teach more and get better at painting. I also work on outside projects. I'm directing some animation outside of Disney. So right now I'm in a pretty good spot. I split my time between painting and teaching painting and directing animated projects for other attractions or other short films. And so I'm looking forward to doing more of that.
Okay. Yeah, and I've seen a lot of your artwork on your website. You've done a great job and an outstanding job on your artwork, and
thanks.
I hope you continue doing painting. Do you have a favorite painting that you've done?
No, not really. There's just so many. I suppose the ones I enjoy the most are the ones from Panama because of my upbringing, and as I mentioned earlier, it's a way of me giving back to where I was born and raised. I speak fluent Spanish, and there's something about the culture that appeals to me and I have a great affection for.
Right.
So I feel strongly about giving back to this country.
Okay. Now, when you say get back to this country, I gotta say, man, if you were to run for president of the United States, I'm sure everybody's gonna vote for you, man.
Well, Matt, thanks. I'll make you vice president. How's that?
Hey,
or maybe you can be president and I'll be vice president.
Hey, hey, I'll take over. I'll make it a little better, and I'll give everybody a raise, Hey.
That's good. Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
So, I wanted to ask you, it's not too many I have listed here, but when you was at Disney, you did work with a handful of talented people. I just wanted to ask you, what was it like working with a few of them? The first one is Roger Alex.
He's an amazing story person. He's really remarkable talent and terrific animator and story person. I would say just in general, maybe there's a way to answering this more broadly. One of the reasons I wanted to work at Disney was I knew I'd be working and influenced by people who were better than me, and it would only make my work better. So
right.
I was thrilled to be working at the studio, and wow, it was overwhelming, but I learned a lot, and I'm glad I chose that as a career path.
Right. Yeah, because I love y'all parent because there was a clip of y'all working together during Lion King, and I think Oliver too. I'm not sure about that. Both of y'all was working together. Yeah.
We worked together. He was in story on Oliver, and then my co-director on Lion King.
Okay. What about Don Hahn?
Again, someone who I really admired and respected, was a terrific producer, someone who brought out the best in his staff, managed people very well, and had a great eye for story and improving the work that, not only improving the work that you're all doing, but improving my own work personally and my contribution. So he's had a big influence on me.
Right. Brenda Chapman, who was Hit a Story?
Yeah, same thing. She was great at story and really one of the better story people I've ever worked with. She was fantastic.
Peter Snyder.
He came in to kind of retool the animation division, and I have a lot of respect for Peter. He did a lot for me in my career, and I still, reach out to him occasionally. He was great to work with and work under. I have a lot of respect for him as well.
Yeah. And Roy Disney.
Same thing. he was actually the one who made me a director at Disney, so I have a personal debt to him as well as a professional one. I did a painting of him. He loved his sail and gave it to his son, Tim Disney, as a way of thanking the family for what Roy had done for me.
Right. Okay. And did you, in general, rather from before or recent, from when you came or even afterwards, did you have a favorite Disney movie?
Yeah, I always really loved Dumbo. It was very sweet. It was a very simple storyline with great characters. Had a lot of charm to it. And I would say some of the work that we've done lately, I'm drawing a blank here, but what was it called? Anyway, I can't remember. But Dumbo, and there's just so many. It's really hard to choose.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Yeah. Well, hey, George, I really appreciate you taking the time to appear on my podcast and talk about your time at Disney beforehand. You've given a lot of good insight from when you was there, and I really, like I said, I admire your work for painting, and you're one of the Disney legends. I mentioned before to Dave when I was talking to him that they really should give a lot of you guys some kind of a animation lifetime achievement award, because without y'all work directing and animating, the films wouldn't have been the same.
No, I appreciate that, Matt. That's really thoughtful of you. It's the way I look at it, I was lucky to be there and to become a director. And how many people get to direct a Disney animated film or work on a featurette or Lion King? So I've been really lucky in my life. I've been at the right place at the right time. I appreciate everything that's been done for me. I'm very grateful.
Yeah. Well, George, thank you for taking the time to come on my podcast. You made my podcast excellent. This is my second time talking to somebody in California, because I'm all the way in Maryland. So,
Wow.
Yeah.
Hope you're not freezing.
Well, currently the weather is it is a little chilly out there, and it is raining. This is actually my off day, so I haven't been outside today a lot. But yeah, luckily it's not snowing yet. I'll put it like that.
Well, that's good. That's really good.
Yeah, is the weather good where you at right now?
Yeah, it's really nice right now.
Okay. All right. Well, hey, George, thank you for appearing on my podcast. Hey, God bless you.
Yeah, well, thank you very much, Matt, and thanks for the interview. It was a real pleasure and an honor. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
No problem. We'll be back in just a moment after this commercial break, folks.
Wait for something good to happen? Make it happen with the clean, masculine scent of English Leather Cologne. And some gifts have it all. Give him English Leather in cologne, aftershave, and specially priced gift sets.
Well, YouTubers, it's been a lot of fun. Thank you for tuning in this week for PE Slick Podcast. I'm your host, Ranger Matt, signing off. Until next time, you have a good night now.